Hi, I'm Kally and welcome to Kally Explains. This is where I take complex text and break it down into simple, plain English. And today we're talking about a question lots of people are asking right now. Is AI taking jobs? Because depending on who you listen to, AI either is about to replace everyone or it's nothing to worry about. But the truth, it's neither of those things. Some jobs are under pressure, some jobs are changing, and some people may get caught out because they don't realize what's happening until it's too late. So let's break it down properly. This is where Kally explains. Will AI replace my job? That headline is wrong. It's the biggest mistake a lot of people make. And actually, that's the wrong question. The better question actually is which parts of my job can AI do? Because AI usually does not replace a whole job at one go, it replaces tasks. That is the difference. Think about most jobs. They're made up of things such as emails, meetings, reports, admin, analysis, planning, problem solving, talking to people, making decisions, handling issues. Now, AI is good at some of that. It can summarize emails and meetings, it can draft responses, it can automate processes, it can analyze patterns, and it can speed up repetitive digital work. But that doesn't mean that it can do the whole job from start to finish without a human involved. AI is more likely to replace tasks than entire jobs. That is the key point. And that changes everything because once you understand that, you stop looking at jobs as titles. Instead, you start looking at them as bundles of tasks. And that's where the real disruption starts. Because the question will no longer be, will AI take my job? It actually becomes, which bits of my value are based on work that AI can do faster, cheaper, and more easier? That's a much more useful question, and honestly, it's a much more uncomfortable one too. Just a quick one, if you're liking the video so far, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel for more plain, simple technical breakdowns. Now let's get back to it. The real risk is quieter. Now this is where it gets interesting because a lot of people imagine AI causing massive layoffs overnight. And in some cases that may happen. But in a lot of businesses, the real impact could be a lot quieter. It might actually look a bit like this. We don't need to replace that person who left. We can freeze the hiring of junior roles. We can get one person to do the role that two people were doing with AI. Now that's still job disruption. It just doesn't come with a huge headline. And in some ways, that is what makes it more dangerous. Because people don't always notice the shift until the market has already changed. So when people ask, is AI taking jobs? Sometimes the answer isn't, yes, it took the whole job. Sometimes the answer is, no, but it stopped the next person getting hired. That's a big difference. And it's one a lot of people miss. The big part people miss. Now, this for me is one of the most important parts in the whole conversation because AI may not just reduce jobs, but it may reduce entry points. Now, think about that for a second. Think about how loads of people started their careers. They did the basic entry roles first: support desk, admin, research, general support work. That was how people learn. That's how people build confidence, how they get exposure, and how they move up. But those are exactly the kind of tasks that AI is getting better at every single day. So the issue isn't just job loss. The issue is that the bottom rung of the ladder is getting smaller. And that matters a lot because if junior people don't get the chance to do junior work, how do they ever become experienced? And that's the bit that not enough people are talking about. The real danger isn't always unemployment, it's career progression erosion. In plain English, AI could make it harder for people to get started in the first place. And that has a long-term consequence because even if senior jobs still exists, the route into them may become narrower. Exposed doesn't mean finished. Another thing people get wrong is the idea that if a job is exposed to AI, it's basically over. That's not necessarily true. A job can be exposed to AI and still need a human. Why? Because real work is messy. There's context, there's exceptions, there's judgment calls, there's trust, accountability, legal and ethical risks, situations where somebody has to own the decision. So, yes, some jobs are clearly more exposed. Routine digital admin jobs, clerical work, standardized customer support, basic content production, repetitive office tasks. Those roles are obviously under pressure, but under pressure doesn't automatically mean gone. Sometimes the role changes, sometimes the team gets smaller, sometimes the human becomes the checker, the approver, the exception handler, or the person who steps in when the AI output isn't good enough. That's a very different story from saying the whole job is dead. And in reality, it's a reshaping of the role. After all, AI can be biased and have hallucinations. If you want to know more about that, make sure you check my other video on what is AI. The new divide. Here's another angle I don't think enough people are talking about. The future divide may not be between people who have jobs and who don't. It may be between people who know how to use AI well and people whose work can quietly be absorbed by it. That's the real shift, because the people who know how to use AI properly may become more productive, more efficient, and more valuable, while the people doing highly repetitive, easy to copy work may come under pressure. So this is not just about job loss, it's about who gets the upside, who saves time, who gets the leverage, who becomes more valuable, and who gets squeezed. That's why saying AI will create new jobs is not really enough, because the real question is, new jobs for who? And are those the same people whose roles are being disrupted? Not always. And that's where things get much more real. Human judgment becomes more valuable. Now let's flip it, because AI is not just a threat, it's also changing what becomes more valuable. And one of the biggest things going up in value right now is human judgment. Think about it. If AI can write the email, if it can draft the report, if it can summarize the meeting, create the first version, pull together the outline, then your value is no longer just producing the thing. Your value becomes knowing, is it any good? What's wrong? What's correct? Understanding what's missing, adding context, challenging weak logic, and making the final call. That matters, because AI can sound brilliant and still be wrong. It can sound polished and still miss the point. It can produce something that looks impressive but falls apart the second you challenge it properly. So the future is not just about using AI, it's about supervising AI well. And that is a very human skill. In fact, in a lot of roles, that may become the most valuable skill of all. Which jobs are safe? Now, that's a question a lot of people are asking. Now, I wouldn't ask which jobs are safe, but rather which jobs are more resilient. And usually it's the roles that involve trust, leadership, people management, emotional intelligence, complex judgment, or physical work in unpredicted environments. Why those roles? Because AI, yes, it can support those jobs, but it will struggle to fully replace them. A manager can use AI to draft a report, but AI is not going to build trust in the team. AI is not going to have a difficult conversation with empathy. AI doesn't take accountability when something goes wrong. AI doesn't know how to navigate around office politics, personalities, or messy real world situations the way that people do. So if you're thinking about your career, ask yourself this: is my value mainly based on repetitive output, or is it based on judgment, trust, relationships, and decision making? That is the real question. And that answer tells you a lot more than any job title will. What should people do now? So if AI is coming, how should people best prepare? Firstly, learn the tools. Not in a gimmicky way, but actually learn how AI applies to your field of work. Where does it help you? Where is it weak? Where can it speed things up? What still needs a human? How can you check that output properly? Secondly, stop building your value around the easiest part of your role. If your main value is doing repetitive digital tasks quickly, then this is a warning sign. You need to build your value in areas like problem solving, communication, judgment, stakeholder management, leadership, decision making. Those are the key areas. Thirdly, do not pretend like AI is going away, because it's not. It's already in the workplace, it's already affecting expectations, and the people who adopt the earliest will be in a better position. Fourth, double down on skills that matter more in an AI world. Things like critical thinking, communication, creativity, adaptability, digital confidence, data awareness, the ability to judge quality properly. Those are not becoming less important. If anything, they're becoming even more important. And finally, watch your own industry closely, because AI will hit every sector, but not in the same way. What happens in software will not be the same that happens in healthcare. What happens in customer service won't be the same as construction. What happens in marketing won't be the same in housing, education, or legal. So don't follow generic headlines. Follow what's happening in your world, because that's where the real signal is. So there we have it, folks. Is AI taking jobs? Yes, in some cases. But that's not the whole story. The bigger truth is that AI is changing jobs. It's reshaping teams. It's reducing entry-level roles. It's putting pressure on repetitive work, but it's also increasing the value of human judgment in other areas. Some jobs will shrink, some will evolve, some new roles will appear. But the biggest risk may not be that AI will take every job overnight. It will be that it quietly changes the rules of work. While most people will be stuck arguing about the headlines, there'll be others that see it early on. They'll learn faster, they'll adapt before they're forced to, and that's the real point. Not panic, not denial, just clarity. So what do you think? Is AI helping people work smarter, or is it quietly making things harder, especially for those trying to start their career off? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more videos where I take complex tech and break it down into plain simple terms, make sure you subscribe.